Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This reports for the 9th of February, and we had dipped down to the 38%, caught a bid, and brought it all the way back up to the 50% level, where the day just basically ended. So whether it's going to be a continuation past that, looks pretty decent with the magenta popping up. Didn't quite get above yellow, but it pivoted right at the key 25 level that we've talked about. From a DOC standpoint, the fading orange, we needed orange if you were looking for the market to continue lower, to cross above steel to the upside, and then you get a slight uptick of steel as well. So this were bullish enough things to pretty much hold things pretty much where they were. We're also looking at the potential here of a higher second pivot from shakeout indicator. So again, those are little things that are enough to provide the support, and then you're at the key level that institutions love, which is at that 50%. So all in all, pretty reasonable. And if we get a continued decay of white, there's potential for a decent bounce back up to 46.13, but that hasn't exactly happened yet. So intraday will be the key element with that. And then same situation with the NASDAQ, only playing between 23 and 38, but on a declining, which does help lift price in that. Now, interestingly enough, though, the orange pivoted higher with that steel red spread. That's actually more bearish, so a little bit of a difference comparative to the S&P, worth noting. So could see some variation. No shock there. Gold skyrocketing. Well, relatively speaking. Euro, not going to do anything. We get people still trying to absorb what the heck was meant with that. A little bit of softening from oil from the positive extreme. So, but all in all, still these are elevated levels for extended periods of time. That has ripple-on effect, and as I talked about, I'm getting closer and closer to my projections. No shock there. We were even talking about that up here when it was peaking, the 150s, and I was talking, 130s down to 125 eventually. It takes a while for the market to adjust to those interest rates, but as that moves up over key levels, it's going to have a systemic issue to the broader market, and we'll see how that plays out, because the bond market was always ahead of things, even in 07, 08, and before that. So it can read inflation, can see that it's coming, and it's just a question of the response to it. Bitcoin, after the pump, we had the fillback of some of the positive extremes. I was looking for an expectation to go back towards here, which pretty much filled that in with that one. And then you had the second wave, which was this one right here that did, and then the first wave goes much further back. That takes a much more significant sell signals you're not seeing at this particular stage in there. Buy signal was corrected. It was just enough, though, to trigger that stop set up in there. And then, of course, bounced right there. And it's going to happen periodically. ETH, again, beautiful action from it. Was soft, a nice buy, moved up, sell signal, took it all the way back down. Fluctuated there for a long while, and a little bit later on captured that bump run. 50K, likewise taking the buy setup as we were basing along right above that 23%, and despite it's still holding within that setup at this particular stage. From a 5K standpoint, we had a little bit of up and down, and then boom, mostly down there, and it was just slow sideways action for the longest time. Then it started to get a little bit better with this move right here. Could have been played long, except for you really look for that crossover, which is why I turned over green when the green did that. Faded off just a little bit, but basically what you had done is created higher shakeout configuration on a P2. And tough one here where the white's leading. It's going to hold off on that turnaround signal until the magenta pops over. But once it did, well worth the run. And then it was beautiful because we had positive extremes right about here, and subsequently filled those on the secondary sell signals, and then got a little extra out of it, all the way back to that 44.85. And once it hit there, it was just a matter of waiting for the return back up. Because usually once you're over the 90 range, usually you make it into the next level. And again, here we are at that 45.20. So when you break that 45, that 23% level going up. Kind of typical. We had a little bit of softness. Turnaround move happened here right in after hours as the magenta started spiking above. It's time to cover that one and flip it around and right back at that. We'll see how close to the 23.50. So right exactly on Fibonacci level, coming off of 23% higher right off the 0.1, which is interesting because we talked about that just a couple days ago. We were looking at retrace potentials on Bitcoin and that kind of thing. As always, though, the market's looking pretty clean, nothing out of the ordinary with most of these setups. So, all in all, we'll just keep sticking with that, and anything significant changes, I will certainly let you know. As always, though, on the Skype chat, for any question, trade well.